YouTube has a graph for each video which allows me to see exactly when viewers click off the video. Anyway, that graph's gonna look really funny when I start the video by saying this. Modern Warfare is a really good game that deserves to be supported throughout Cold War's lifecycle. Modern Warfare and Cold War are completely different beasts. One is arcadey, one is tactical, one feels like Insurgency and Modern Warfare 3 had a baby, the other one feels like Black Ops 2 barfed all over my screen and has no business being there, so I get irritated and play it a lot less than Modern Warfare. The analogy got away from me. Look, if you want to see me talk about how shitty Modern Warfare is, go look at my old videos throughout last year. I complained about Modern Warfare's designs all the time. I wanted C4 nerfed from like the first launch week. I wanted shotguns nerfed after launch night. I wanted footstep sounds to be reduced. I wanted dead silence as a perk for people. I wanted the minimap to go back to normal. I wanted the ghost perk to only work when moving. Believe me, I don't think Modern Warfare is a saint, and Infinity Ward is joining Ubisoft and CD Projekt Red and EA and 343. Oh my god. Anyway, I have a list of developers that annoy me. But in this video, I'm going to talk about Modern Warfare in a positive light. I like the game. It just hits different than any other Call of Duty. It reminds me of what I thought COD 4 looked like when I was a kid. I enjoy the hell out of it. I had so many ideas for this game when it was coming out. Like, two season ideas I had a Going Dark season idea where they would add like 10 different night maps or 10 different night variations of existing maps. Like Night Crash, Night Grozny Raid, Night Petrograd. I would have loved to have seen that. I was hoping to get different night vision colors and different types of night vision goggles we can equip. Some cool dark themed loadouts and operators. Some new assassinations. It'd be like a cool stealthy night season. I think that would have been really cool. Especially since a lot of the marketing was all about going dark and putting on night vision, and Infinity Ward literally designed an infrared spectrum into the game's engine that's there even when you can't see it. The goggles just allow you to see their infrared. It's amazing. Also, I really wanted a throwback season with maps from Call of Duty 1 and 2 with weapons like the BAR, the M1 Garand, the Thompson. Because we already have a Kar 98, an MG34, and an M1911, it would have been nice to have some other World War II guns in there, and with 2 or 3 maps from COD 1 and 2. I mean, they brought in Harbor, but they made it all, you know, deserty, which is unnecessary because it usually has a cool snow aesthetic, but whatever. Either way, a couple of World War II themed modern skins with some World War II era weapons would have made for a fun season, I think, for Modern Warfare's multiplayer. Especially with just the detail and fidelity that went into the weapons. I think it would have been really cool to have an M1 Garand or a Thompson, and they could have done a game mode that's realism, but only World War II weapons are allowed, so that could have been cool. So you fight on COD 2 maps with one-shot headshots and M1 Grands and Kar 98s. That would have been neat. I would have liked that a lot. There was so much potential for Modern Warfare, and it often lived up to it, except when it came to the maps that were released. I kind of got bored and confused with the maps they chose to remaster and bring back over other ones. Like, the fact that we never got Terminal or High Rise feels very strange. Or Crossfire from Call of Duty 4. I don't know why we needed Backlot and Crash when they're kind of similar in their styles, but we couldn't get Crossfire or Overgrown or Pipeline. I don't know, it just seems like it was missing out on some things. Like, I could have traded Vacant for any other COD 4 map and enjoyed it more. We also never got Dome or Resistance for Modern Warfare 3. And I still think Estate would have looked beautiful in Modern Warfare's engine. They played around with giving us the Task Force M4A1, and I would have loved to have seen other skins based on the Modern Warfare 2 versions of guns. So an AK that has that tactical tan and polymer sort of build that it does in MW2. They could have done a version of the RAM that has the Mars sight built into the top of it. And I was always excited to see what weapons they would add because of their conversion kits. Like, I just really enjoyed the Fin LMG because it was like 3-4 different guns. You could play with it 4 different ways, roughly. Slow-firing LMG, fast-firing LMG, slow-firing chainsaw, fast-firing chainsaw. You might think I'm splitting hairs, but those 4 things give you 4 different experiences, and it's only 1 gun being added, and it was free. I loved seeing what unique attachments would be in the game, and even though some guns, like the ISO and Striker, really fell behind the meta, I was still excited to unlock them and play with them. And the fidelity of Modern Warfare is just something that's going to be timeless. The sounds of gunshots, the explosions, the feeling of lining up that perfect long-distance AX-50 headshot on Grozny Raid, it's unmatched in the franchise. It makes every other Call of Duty gun feel weak and tinny in comparison. Modern Warfare just feels like a grown-up's Call of Duty game, and I'm not trying to say that as a literal fact, I'm not a douchebag, but it just felt like Call of Duty had finally grown a little bit of chest hair, and I really appreciated that. It's like they peeked over at all those milsim games on PC, and they're like, hey, people like Insurgency, not for its super innovative gameplay, they like it because it hits different. It has that crack, that snap, that pop, that customization, that tactical feel. Hell yeah. Modern Warfare deserves a fat update, where the ghost perk only works when you're moving. They could change it so that doors can be destroyed and blown off hinges, like in the Fireteam game mode we see in Cold War. They also could bring in the detailed stat charts that Cold War has. Cold War's gunsmith stat charts pull directly from the code. I can't imagine it would be too hard to implement that into MW. Also, MW on console still needs an FOV slider. These are things that I think people deserve at this point. Cold War is clearly not everybody's cup of tea. Its return to the more arcadey, simplistic style of COD works for some people, and they can play that game. But Modern Warfare is a different beast. If you guys recently saw my video about how Activision doesn't want you to play Modern Warfare anymore, yeah, that's a massive mistake. People are going to be reluctant to interact with your future projects, Activision, if they think that after the life cycle on them is over, you're going to hide them from in-game stores, you're going to remove their icons and replace it with the next game's icon, you're going to take away their incentives to buy bundles and cosmetics in your game. I mean, you realize you took incentives out of your microtransactions. That's how desperate you are to get people off of Modern Warfare's in-game store and into Warzones and into Cold Wars. You tied Warzone directly to Cold War so that they can share microtransactions. So even if Cold War's player numbers are low, Warzones will stay high and you'll still make your cosmetic money. You're a company and you have to justify the money and time you just spent making Cold War, because if you can't justify it, people are less likely to give you money in the future. I understand that. It makes sense. But Modern Warfare could have been so much more popular if you would have given people what they asked for from the beginning. A working minimap, a ghost perk that only works when moving, destructible doors or removed doors. I'm even talking about some things that I like. I like the way you guys handle Dead Silence and doors in Modern Warfare, but hell, I still think you should change it because the community's been demanding you change it. MW and Cold War need to be supported simultaneously. Modern Warfare is oozing with potential, and in many ways, Cold War is a non-starter. You can still fix Modern Warfare's multiplayer. You don't have to commit to this yearly cycle. And this is the big problem with annual releases. It's not just that your $60 doesn't go as far. The developers and publisher are going to try so desperately to make their money back and to make their new product profitable and justifiable that the timeless quality of the game that came before is going to seem irrelevant to them. The potential left on the table will just be left on the table. Activision looks awkward and out of touch here, wondering why we're not putting all of our money and time into Cold War and trying desperately to de-incentivize us from loading up last year's game. Activision, I'm sorry, wouldn't it just be better because you have multiple dev teams to tell Infinity Ward to work hard on Modern Warfare, tell Raven and Sledgehammer to work on Warzone, and tell Treyarch to work on Cold War? Wouldn't that make the most sense? I mean, you have 4 dev studios underneath you, more than that actually, so why are you so scared of people playing last year's game? I'm gonna end with this thought. This is the era of long-lasting live service competitive shooters. Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, god damn it, CSGO, Valorant. People play games for more than only 12 months. Activision, okay? You know this. You know that's why people are still playing Warzone despite the fact that it came out like a year ago. It's still one of the most viewed things on Twitch, most played things on Xbox. Yeah, okay, yeah, you get that. I feel like a crazy person telling a billion-dollar company, hey, there's gold in them there hills. But there's gold in them there hills, Activision. You can go and, you know, get some of it. I don't expect you to act like a saint, Activision. I am not a video game activist demanding the most human and personal service from you. You want my money, and I want to be able to give it to you without barfing in my mouth a little bit. You will have my time and money, and many of other people's time and money, if you give Modern Warfare more love, more weapons, another season, some more maps. a nice update to its meta with the ghost perk indoors. I think you should start there and move on and see if that actually affects the player base. Modern Warfare is a very replayable game. You'll be surprised how many people come back when you give it a meaningful change. Personally, it's been nice not getting C4 sandwiched around every corner in Modern Warfare after you nerf the C4, and you did that very late into its life cycle. So yeah, Modern Warfare deserves support. It's not a perfect game, but it can only get better if the time was put into it. Hopefully, Activision can stop pretending Modern Warfare doesn't exist after this honeymoon phase with Cold War is over, and I will see you when I see you guys. Goodbye.